Well, joining us on the Beyond the Flags podcast is a special guest, our first ever from the state of Louisiana, as well as our first RaceSaver IMCA Sprint Car driver. It's Cassiday Lejeune. Cassidy is from Abbeville, Louisiana. Cassidy's going to tell us about his racing career, how it started from the Karts in South Louisiana, and then venturing out throughout the Gulf, as well as some cool traditions that are in Abbeville, as he is a part of Acadiana, the Cajun area of the Pelican State. That's coming up next. But before we get to the interview, make sure wherever you're listening or watching from, you hit the like button and subscribe so that you don't miss out on future episodes. Well, joining us on the Beyond the Flags podcast is Cassiday Lejeune, representing the Pelican State of Louisiana, specifically Abbeville. Cassidy, it's great to have you on the program. I'm really looking forward to this interview.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. I'm happy to be here, man. I appreciate you reaching out to me.
Believe it or not, you're the first driver from Louisiana that I've had the pleasure to interview on the podcast. So slowly but surely checking off a lot of different states in the last year or so.
Yeah, man, I'm happy to be the first one. That's a far reach from Oregon, man, coming all the way down to touch base with me in South Louisiana.
Now, you're from Abbeville. Do you particularly like to be called a Louisianan or an Arcadian?
Well, yeah, I'm part of the kind of that Cajun heritage of South Louisiana, Cajun Creole, but primarily kind of that Southwest Louisiana Cajun influence with kind of a French background from the Acadians back in the day. Yes, sir. Okay. Because, like a lot of people think Louisiana and they just think of two things, Baton Rouge and New Orleans, but it's a pretty, it's a decent sized state with lots of other places, but besides those two cities. Yes, sir. It's pretty diverse across the entire state. Those are the two big cities, but there's a lot of cool, smaller cities and small towns all throughout the state.
Well, talking about you, 2025 got a start with the RaceSaver IMCA Sprints, and actually had a pretty good outing at 105 Speedway in Cleveland, Texas, and was running towards the front. That's got to make you feel confident with it being so early in the year.
Yes, sir. We did have a good run for the opening weekend at 105, and last year we came off of third place finish on the last race at 105. So hopefully, kind of moving forward, we could improve and maybe catch a win here in the near future. But yeah, it was a good showing, a good race. We started maybe fourth or so, took the lead a couple laps into the race, and held the lead for several laps before Christopher Townsend was able to get past me on a restart.
Well, and let's talk about your introduction to racing. How did that whole start, and how did the journey begin with you becoming a race car driver?
Yeah, so my story started off when I was a kid, maybe around 10, started racing go-karts on asphalt and dirt kind of locally in South Louisiana. Did go-karts kind of through my high school years, and that was kind of late 90s. And right after I graduated high school, I jumped into a micro and ran micro sprints for a couple seasons. And that kind of was across the southeast part of the state from Texas all the way to Mississippi and even Florida. And then after that, around 2001, I jumped into sprint car racing and kind of been doing that on and off ever since. 2001 through maybe the mid 2000s, I ran pretty consistently. We ran a few years where we made a bunch of shows. But in between there, I had some off years where I took off to go back to college for about 5 years. So I missed out a little bit there, and had a couple seasons where I wasn't able to make many shows. And here lately, we haven't been running the last several seasons, full seasons. We haven't been racing for points. We just race when we can.
Well, and tell me about that feeling first time getting strapped in the sprint car. Obviously, a go-kart to a micro sprint, that's a jump in itself. And then a further jump up the proverbial speed pyramid, I guess you could say, from a micro to a sprint car. That had to have been a dream come true, but also maybe some nerves, as they say, butterflies in the stomach, maybe a couple bald eagles in there.
Yeah, no doubt. Definitely. The transition from karting to micros was a pretty smooth and easy transition, I would say, or easier. Not that I came out and set the world on fire in a micro, but it was an easier process. I did definitely feel the difference getting into a 360 sprint car and just learning how you run with a throttle, learning how to kind of get away from that, trying to be as smooth as possible and that sort of thing in a micro and a go-kart, into sprint cars where you use the throttle and you get the car a little bit more twisted. It's still important in the sprint car to keep it straight and not scuff off speed, but it's just a little different technique for running the car. And of course, Shirley had a few more spin outs and unfortunate fender benders type stuff, kind of getting through those learning years.
And you mentioned you kind of had a regional exposure to the micro sprints. When you got in the sprint cars, were you able to fan out just about as much, or did you try and kind of keep it local in the East Texas, Louisiana sort of area?
Yeah, so in our geography, we don't have a healthy dirt track climate. Unfortunately, it's kind of spread out, and we're thankful for like 105, who does a lot of kind of weekly racing and monthly racing for sprint cars. So that's very helpful to us. But 105 is about a 3.5 hour drive for us every time we want to go race. So kind of historically, and even today, a lot of the sprint car racing in this area is spread out, where it's mostly like touring series. You have to travel. So yeah, in the early days, we traveled quite a bit from Texas to Florida, ran kind of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and kind of branched out to Texas and Florida on occasions. But just kind of the 360 stuff I did was with kind of regional touring groups, groups like the Cajun Sprinters Association, and even we dabbled a little bit on and off with some kind of regional ASS type stuff. But yeah, we have to travel a good bit down here. We've got 4 racetracks left in Louisiana. If you go back 20 years ago, we probably had about 10 or so. If you go back way back, there was double that. It's kind of tapering off, unfortunately, in our area.
Yeah. I remember hearing about the CSA, the Cajun Sprint Association. ASCS Gulf South, I think, was kind of active in there. I know there was a couple other different things, and I think the Hurricane Super Sprints kind of on the Gulf is kind of taken form as well. Yes, sir. Kind of whenever
a number of years back, before the Hurricane Area Super Sprint kicked off, things were kind of trending more to people kind of picking up 305 racing and running 305s, and that's kind of the time we transitioned over. And then after that, the Hurricane Area Super Sprints kind of made a splash in this area, and they've been having some good car counts and that sort of thing. But we've been kind of committed to the 305 racing, and it's primarily Texas, kind of East Texas, South Texas is where they run, and we plan to do that kind of moving forward. It just would be nice to have a couple tracks kind of closer to home. Baton Rouge is my closest track, about an hour and a half away. Mm-hmm. On occasion, we've run with the ASCS with the 305. We did that maybe the year before last. I think we might try to do that coming up here in a couple weekends in April. But there, it's just hopeful you could kind of run mid-pack.
Well, and I was going to say, at one point in time, there was a Louisiana RaceSaver series, I think, at least like in 2017, 18, somewhere around there.
Correct. Yes, sir. They had I think they called it Louisiana Bayou Sprint or something like that. And at that time, I was still kind of messing with 360 cars. So I didn't run with those guys. But after that, that kind of died out, and they had this kind of joint Louisiana-Texas group that had formed, a year or two or a few years after that, maybe around the 2017, 2018 time frame. And that's kind of when we jumped into the 305 scene and started running the IMCA RaceSaver motor. And it's been fun. It's been good. It's a little different than the 360s. it's something that like I'm having to relearn how to run the bottom and that sort of thing. But it's been a great experience, and it's been a great group to run with in Texas.
Hopefully in the years to come, maybe there'll be an opportunity. I know you said the tracks, there aren't quantity as much, but it seems like the tracks that are there, there's some quality, and maybe get something together where there's more RaceSaver sprint car drivers coming out of Louisiana to where, they can have like a 10 race series or something, or an 8 race mini series, whatever it be, just to keep that vitality going.
Oh, I agree. It would be great. That would be neat to have that. Like I say, we got, I think I said 4, we might have 5 tracks in Louisiana, and the ones that we have are quality. The ones that are left that are quality, and they're great places to run, great places to race. I love Baton Rouge Raceway. There's Super B, there's Blue Hill, there's a number of them, kind of more further north. But we've also run in Sabine sometimes in the past, and that's a great little track too. So maybe we could get back to that point where we have a few more race dates in Louisiana.
Are you looking to find that adrenaline rush, but you can't because you're not at the racetrack? Well, check out the IMCA TV Replay subscription library to have access to thousands of hours of racing for just $24.99 a month. Relive all the moments of the Speedway Motors IMCA Super Nationals fueled by Casey's at Boone Speedway, the Harris Clash at Deer Creek Speedway in Spring Valley, Minnesota, the IMCA TV Winter Nationals at Cocopah Speedway in Somerton, Arizona, Florida's Clash on the Coast, and dozens of Speedway Motors IMCA weekly racing program racetracks from across the nation, as well as the IMCA TV Dirtcast podcast. Plus, 25% of that $24.99 monthly fee goes towards the Drivers Point Fund and is a great way to help out your local racers. In 2023, over $97,000 was paid out to IMCA drivers directly at over 50 racetracks across the country. Please note that live broadcasts are not part of a replay subscription. That's IMCA TV. IMCA TV, where America comes to watch racing. So you raced the car number 5. Is there any particular reason why you chose that number by chance?
Yeah, so I surely could tell you that story. I've been running number 5 since I was 10 years old, racing go-karts. It's always kind of been my number, besides maybe a one-off year when I couldn't because there was another number 5. But that all started from my youth and watching Jeff Bodine racing NASCAR, the Cup Series. Man, I just for some reason fell in love with that number 5 Levi Garrett stock car, and he was always my favorite throughout the years, and picked up that number as a kid and kind of hung on to it.
That would have been that's when he was driving for Hendrick, right?
That's right.
Yeah, one of the, not the, I don't think it was the first, but one of the first Hendrick cars that were out there. That's
right. It was kind of in the, I guess, mid-late 80s. I can't remember the exact year, but when I was a little kid sitting in front of TV watching NASCAR, that old Jeff Bodine was who I was pulling for.
So I looked something up because I follow so much IMCA racing, and I want to make sure that I always have the correct pronunciation of towns or names. So I watch a lot of IMCA TV and some other stuff, and I saw your name, and it's Lejeune. Okay, that's pretty easy. But then I looked, and it's like, oh man, is this Abbeville or whatever? And so what I do is I just type in the city that I'm looking for, and then I go to video, and a lot of the times you can find like a news story from the local news, and some of it is some unfortunate stuff that happens, but your case, something pretty cool about Abbeville is tell me about this giant omelet that you guys do every year.
Oh yes, that's neat that you found that. Yes, it's a tradition in Abbeville to do this giant omelet festival. It's typically it's actually coming up pretty soon. But it's a bunch of chefs that come in. They have this big skillet. They build a big fire in the street. It's surrounded by a festival and other activities that are going on at the same time. And it's kind of around the Lenten season and tied to Catholicism. That's pretty common down here. But they get together, have a bit of a procession out into the street, and they crack a ton of eggs into a big skillet and make a big old omelet that they share with the community. So it's a neat little festival to take in if you're ever in the southern part of Louisiana.
I'm not the biggest omelet fan, but it looked delicious. I assume that you've partook and had a taste.
Oh yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's a great experience. Good food. There's a lot of other stuff happening at the festival. A lot of crafts and music and other things. South Louisiana, they enjoy passing a good time and having festivals and events. So yeah, it's one of the good ones.
For folks that have never been there, obviously that's a cool thing to see and to take in. But Louisiana is just such a beautiful part of the country, and I think it gets overlooked a little bit. And me, I'm a huge amateur Civil War historian, and so I've grown up and I've read tons of stuff and seen pictures of just the amazing, the Spanish moss and the cypress trees and the slow moving bayous and everything, and it's just so cool and picturesque. And when I think of the Gulf South, I think of Louisiana.
Yeah. Louisiana is a fantastic state. It is quite scenic. There's great culture. There's amazing food. If you like hunting and fishing, it's a fantastic place to come visit. The natural resources in Louisiana are truly unmatched anywhere else. It's just a fantastic state, especially when it comes to an outdoor standpoint. I will say it does get like blazing hot. We have high humidity. It's almost unbearably uncomfortable during the summer, but it's a great place to live.
That's one of the main things that probably I haven't moved there is the humidity and the cottonmouth snakes. Just those two things. I think I could deal with alligators. As long as I got the right repellent for some of the mosquitoes and the bugs, I think I can handle that. It's just the swamp, that swampy, wet, you walk out with a dry shirt and it's wet in a couple minutes kind of thing.
Oh.
And cottonmouths. I like the water, but I don't like things like that coming up that want to take a taste of me.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's definitely the place where you walk out during the peak heat of the summer and you last less than a minute before you end up soaking wet from the heat and the humidity that sticks. But yeah, it's great winters, great climate during the winter months. We have mild winters. It's kind of like Florida. Great place to be. It's great in the kind of spring and fall. But yeah, the summers are almost unbearable.
I was looking, and it's not too far from some places. Obviously, one of the big universities, Lafayette. That's off of, I think, Grand Lake in what is that, Bayou Teche or Bayou Fourche?
Yeah, it's the Vermilion Bayou that we have. University of Louisiana Lafayette, which is a big university. I went there for college, and we also have a large university in Baton Rouge that's Louisiana State, which most people probably know of, the good old Fighting Tigers,
the Bengal or the Bayou Bengals. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I didn't know that. Well, I knew this. Obviously, I learned it, but I always thought LSU is what it was called, LSU, but it was actually Louisiana Military Institute at one point. So
yes, sir.
And General Sherman was actually the instructor there right before the Civil War. So.
Oh wow!
Small world, and they actually tried to recruit him, and he kind of told them to go to HE double hockey sticks. Like, this is a big mistake. You don't want to do this. And so, anyways, yes. But yeah, I was just gonna say Lafayette, not too far. Nor is the beach, the Gulf Beach, because Vermilion Bayou spills out into Vermilion Bay, right?
Yes, sir. We're maybe from where I'm sitting right now, we're maybe 20, 30 miles from the Gulf, from the Gulf shoreline. Louisiana isn't the most sought out kind of beach vacation area just because of the Mississippi River and the muddy waters, but we do have a number of recreational beaches. Probably the most popular is Grand Isle, Louisiana, which is a little southeast of me, a few hours away. They have a pretty decent public beach that's readily accessible. But we do also have some kind of near our area in southwest Louisiana, like Rutherford Beach.
Okay, yeah. I know that I have a friend of mine that races Mach 1 IMCA Sport Compacts. He doesn't do it full time. It's one of those deals where he does it like every 3 months or something. But I think he's one of the pilots. It's not Vermilion Bayou, but I think it's Lafouche or Tesh that I'm trying to think what it is. I want to think it's Rice or it's something that he's a pilot on barges that go from the Gulf up to the cities where they get distributed.
Yeah, that's common down here. We have a lot of waterways. We have the Gulf Intracoastal Waterway, which is like the marine interstate for the kind of southeast part of the country. A lot of vessel traffic, a lot of commerce, a lot of moving of goods and equipment. We have oil and gas. We have many things that are water dependent and coastal dependent. So it's all part of our economy and way of life down here.
And Eunice isn't too far from you, where Jason Johnson was from, right?
Correct. I'm about maybe 45 minutes from Eunice, and definitely grew up as a kid watching Jason Johnson race. I can't tell you the number of times we went to see Jason. We were all a big fan of Jason, especially back in the day when he was running with Cajun Sprinters Association and kind of dominating that series. We watched him back in the day at Forest Hill Speedway. Race with his family. That's kind of their home track that doesn't exist anymore, but a lot of fond memories of watching Jason, and not only kind of in his early days of racing with the Cajuns, but also kind of his way up through the ranks of racing ASCS and World of Outlaws and professionally, and winning the Knoxville Nationals and everything else. He's surely our kind of local hero from a sprint car racing standpoint.
Yeah, no doubt, because I remember he had came here, and I remember talking to him about like where in Louisiana he was from, and then I remember looking at a map, and then it just light bulb in my head. It's like, wait, it's got to be somewhat close. Eunice from Abbeville, so there we go.
Sir.
Now you know. Folks that might want to follow along as far as your racing schedule or your results, do you have a good social media page or a website where folks can check that out and keep up to date with you?
You know, Ben, that's probably something I need to work on and improve. I really don't have a good social media presence. I probably need to do a better job of that. Probably the best way to kind of track progress is just some of the online apps that post results and show information on sprint car racing. I saw that y'all put together a decent article about the 105 race, and I'm appreciative of IMCA covering us down here in the South. But keep an eye out for race reports is about the best thing I have at my fingertips, but it is on my to-do list to create maybe a little bit better social media presence around some of the racing that I do.
Sure. And if folks are at 105 or maybe at a track that you're racing at, do you currently have an apparel run of shirts or hoodies at the moment?
No, sir, I don't. I don't have that either, unfortunately. I'm kind of kind of like a on and off racer. I'm racing up as much as I can, but I'm surely not there every weekend where I could be selling shirts and having merchandise. I'm pretty grassroots on the low end scale, but yeah, I'll be there, happy to shake hands and say hello and let some kids sit in the race car. If anybody's out at the track 105 or anyone that I'm at, please come on by and visit. We'd love to meet everyone.
No, understandable. Of course, support, right? Without support, it'd be very, very hard, if not impossible, to do racing. Who are some folks that you'd like to thank? Maybe it's some people that are putting hands to the car, making sure that the number 5 machine's going in the right direction, or sponsor marketing partners that you have helping you out from a financial standpoint.
Yeah, man. A lot of what we're doing is kind of out of our pocket. We've had a number of small scale sponsors over the year. For in the early days, we had sponsors that would loan us like a ATV, and we've had fuel sponsors and a few minor things. Couple folks donating racing things that we needed over the years. But here lately, with the schedule we run and how we're running kind of more locally, we don't do too much of that. We're not out there beating the bushes trying to find help. We're just trying to make it on our own. But I will say I do need to say thanks to my parents, especially my dad. This racing thing is something that he and I have done since I was a kid. He was passionate about it. My grandfather used to race way back in the day, so he kind of got it from my grandfather. So I'm very thankful to my dad for all the years of us being together to doing this. I have some really fond memories, and wouldn't replace him for the world. But also my uncle, I have uncle, my dad's Mike. My uncle is Brad Lejeune. He comes out and helps us at the track. And then, of course, my family, my wife and kids, who allow me to do this on the weekend and go away for a night or two to go have some fun.
Well, awesome. Well, we greatly appreciate the time for you to take to tell us your racing story of a unique part of the Speedway Motors IMCA Weekly Racing Series. And I'm super glad I had a chance to talk to you. And, of course, I wish you the best of luck in 2025, and hopefully it's a good season for you and your race team.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Ben. I appreciate you reaching out. This has been fantastic, and happy to chat with you and get to meet you, and thanks for the coverage.
Well, race fans, that does it for this interview. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope that you continue to enjoy these upcoming interviews. We appreciate it if you would like and subscribe wherever you're listening, whether it's on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, wherever it's at. Give us a like and give us a subscription so that we can deliver more of these great interviews to you for your listening pleasure. In the meantime, wherever we're at, wherever you're listening, we hope you have a great rest of your day and a pleasant evening, and we will see you soon here at Highside Racing Promotions.